Hello, welcome in everybody. Welcome. It is, well, where I am right now is the 31st of the 3rd, so we're just about to click over to April. And when I was thinking about a reading, I was like, do I just do the trope one of an April, month ahead? And I've seen so many readings and also channelings and stuff about next month. So I felt like, well, let's change it up a little bit. And I did a little meditation, and now we're going to do a reading on the body. So you could take this as a message from your body to you, maybe something that is within you that can be released. That was one part of it. It was like something that's within you that you're holding or storing within your body. Our body stores and is like a storage of information. There is that truth of the body's a temple, so you want to be mindful of what you put into it. Absolutely. And this kind of side part of it is our body also holds trauma, right? If you've ever done like QHHT or studied just like the first portion of it, like level 1, they do talk about certain parts of the body, like cancer can be withheld or held in anger. Sometimes diabetes and stuff like that, or blood sugar levels can be a desire for something sweet in life, like not so much food, but just like the sweetness. And obviously that's not going to be in every single case for every single person, right? We're not in the world of black and white. We're in the world of like shifts and changes right now. So whenever you're hearing this, you could be in a completely different place, world, time, dimension. It is that kind of time to be a human, I would say, is that nothing is going to be 100% right for this, 100% right for that. Otherwise, if science was all that, then we would have had pills and stuff that would have cured everything, right? It doesn't really work like that. There's certain times where people are borderline about to pass and that's going to be it, and they make full recovery and remission. They've had like cells all within their body that are like attacking themselves, and it's just a mess, and then they've gone into remission and it's all cleared up. Those are real cases that have happened out there. There's a lot of wacky things out there. So, long story short, we're going to do a reading about the body and see if there's a message for you from your body. This is going to be for you, whichever pile. Obviously, take it with a grain of salt because this isn't a one-on-one reading. This is a collective reading. So without any more time wasting, let's grab some crystals and see. Oops. That was a really bad shuffle. Let's grab some crystals and we'll see what piles we got. Okay, since that one wanted to flip up, we'll take that one. Okay, so take this as a message from your body. Maybe about the body, what it's holding on to, or even just a general message of what you can look into now. I'm just going to spread these out so there's no reflection of light. We have a little bit of sun here today in Brisbane, which is nice because it's been raining a lot. So we'll have a look at pile number 1. So this one is Ocean Jasper with ease, balance, and healing. And here is the crystal for you. For pile 2, this one here is Rhodonite with emotional healing and balance. And this is what your crystal looks like. For pile 3, you have the Mookite with nature, connection, and adventure. And this is what the Mookite looks like. Okay. So as always, take your time, pick whichever one calls to you. Down in the description below, you can just jump straight to your reading if that's what you want. But if there's not enough time at the end when I've finished talking, you can pause the video and just give yourself some time. I know some people like to really consider it. Sometimes the cert in the crystal will really jump out. Sometimes it's the number, right? 1, 2, 3. And sometimes there's none that are really calling, but you're interested in just listening. This is a good space to sit and just listen to the energy, maybe even in the background if you're not really interested in the reading, just to sit with your collective peers, right? With myself, with everyone listening, and the planet. It's just nice to feel connected, even if you are out in the wilderness living in a, in a little hut or something. You still are connected no matter what. Can't escape it while you're here. And I don't think we can escape it anyway. But yeah, hopefully that will help you decide which pile's for you. Other than that, I'll see you in your message. Hello, hello, welcome to your reading pile 1. So this is going to be the message from your body, for your body, maybe things that you're holding on to that can be released now. Take the message however it feels right to you. So I've got a few cards here, and we'll be going through those and a tarot deck at the end. But you've chosen the Ocean Jasper. It was really interesting because I was looking into it, and obviously it picks up with like water of the ocean. Excuse me. The ocean saltiness is like cleansing, right? I remember my mom used to, weirdly, well, I used to think she would go to the beach and just like scoop up some seawater and gargle it, or like move it around her mouth and spit it out. And I didn't really understand, but it's kind of like that, to remove bacteria type thing, and that kind of stuff, I guess. I don't know. I can't remember if I asked her or not. Sometimes she just wouldn't really respond with like a proper answer in my mind. But she just felt like, usually it was just like I felt like doing it. So anyway, it's just kind of reminding me of cleansing or like refreshing, let's say. Another part also is, I don't know too much about Ocean Jasper. I'm going to read the back of it. But with these like little periwinkle type things, sometimes it's like fossilized, right? It's like, it just, even if it's not, it reminds me of fossilized ammonoids, I think they're called, or like different bivalves or different like crustaceans or creatures or whatever they freaking were back in the day, right? Billions of years ago, millions of years ago. So there's something with that, like something that may want to be rediscovered or come back through, or part of you that's like squashed down by a certain aspect of the body, mind, or soul, or just like a belief, right? And it's restricting the body. So there's something with that. And on the back here, it's got ease, balance, and healing. And I love the ease part of it because that's what I feel all of us really want, is just to be able to do what we need to do when we need to do it. And ask of our body of not really like stress and putting it under huge amounts of pressure for aesthetics, right? Or for or even for our work, even if that's our job, like to kind of come into harmony with it and recognize like, hey, we're going to be doing this heavy lifting because we're moving house, let's gear up into that kind of like motivational type energy. It's kind of like respecting the body and keeping it in the loop. See it as like this is how it's coming through. See it as like a partner. Your partner doesn't know what you don't tell them, right? You can't assume that they just know. So your body kind of like just gear up with it and keep it informed, I guess, is how it's coming through. So this is a Jasper, a rare type of Jasper found solely along secluded northwestern coast of Madagascar. Holds an air of mystery due to the challenging locations, echoing its elusive origin. The spiritual attributes of Ocean Jasper are truly one of a kind. Okay, cool. So let's have a look. So it says here, releasing emotional burdens and heart strains, encouraging you to express your emotions and progress beyond these challenges. Much like the fluidity of water, embracing the energy of Ocean Jasper calls for a willingness to navigate life's currents and go with the flow. I feel like that's where the ease is coming through. There will be this idea of balancing and healing. Of course, we all want to keep our mind, body, soul in balance, and heal whatever is stopping us from progressing, right? Moving forward. Whew, okay. Don't know why, I just got like a wave of like heat. So I don't know what that's about. It's just kind of like, I've got the aircon on because it is warm. It's not super hot, but it's like uncomfortable in this room if I don't have it on. And it's just like a wave of like heat came over me. So I don't know what that's about, but we'll have a look. So these are interesting cards. They're not really, I wouldn't say they would be associated normally with anything to do with the body. I do have other cards that were more, that did touch on anatomical parts. Not specifically, but they had the like parts in there, and that one wasn't called for. So I went with intuition with these cards, and whatever is coming through is going to be whatever needs to be said, right, about this reading, within this reading. Gave them a good shuffle before we started. Okay. So here are the oracle cards. We'll have a look. Your first card is fulfillment. It says here, striking gold in every experience. That's really nice. I don't think I've seen this one before. You know, normally the shadow, what are they called? Secret language of darkness. Touch on our innermost like pains and stuff like that. And maybe this is a challenge for some people. Finding fulfillment in life, maybe going through life and just feeling like you're not really connected to it. Whether you feel like starseed kind of energy and disconnected from this planet, or even just unable to find people that really kind of like you gel with, or understand them or yourself, right? Or they don't understand you. You know, that kind of thing. There's something here which is able to be processed through the system. I'll see what else comes through, but there's something around that. We'll have a look. So you've got the knight, be brave and honest. I love that, especially with this like communication with self and body, right? You've got to be clear and honest with self. If you've made some kind of error and you've been kind of cutting it off or anything like that, sorry, there's contractors working next door and they decided to rev their cars for whatever reason. But anyway, maybe that's part of this reading. Maybe this just needed to be like, it just needs to be expressed outwardly, honestly, right? That vehicle thing kind of like blasting a whole lot of sound and energy. It's just like, this needs to come out fast, honest, and quick. It doesn't have to be to someone else, but maybe to yourself. And I feel like that's going to free up some blockages within the physical form as well. You have the Air Guardian, which shift your perception. Yeah, this is interesting with Be Brave and Honest, because I was doing a reading recently and I was speaking to someone and they were talking about unlearning a whole bunch of stuff from the past. We come into this earth, and depending on what country and culture and stuff, generally a majority of like the people, I would say, come in with a lot of pre-programming to deal with this, whatever they're learning. And then whatever they learn during that time, like being younger, you learn a whole lot of stuff that's like seen as normal, right? In one country, it might be normal to eat dog, right? And then another that would be like abhorrent. You know what I mean? And it's not like one's right and one's wrong. This is just the world that we live in. It's just like it is. So sometimes you might think, okay, well, let's say, for example, dogs were like going extinct, right? No, not really, but they're definitely not. But like, you know, just let's say that's happening. That might be a cause for, oh, I thought it was normal, but I didn't realize there was like a limited amount of like dogs in the world. I don't know. This is probably not the best example, but maybe like you could take, excuse me, you could take that into like whaling or something, where there's, you know, the life cycle takes a lot longer to create life with those large creatures. So there is this kind of like shifting perception. It's not really to change your mind or to be convinced that someone else is wrong or right. This is really about looking at things through a different lens, from besides yourself, or from the mirror, or from another person's point of view, or not even from the ground level, zooming out and looking at like the canopy, right, of what's happening in life. and how it's impacting you, and what am I holding on to, and what part of my body is not responding in a way that feels natural, right? Sometimes that can be mental, physical, mental, right? Let's just go with that. Emotional, so something we've been told, or something that's happened to us, or something that's been said to us that's like hurt us, and we're holding that in some way in our heart, in our body, or in our legs, arms, fingers, whatever. Another part could be physical, right? Our body might be wanting us to go and exercise, or just go out and get some fresh air, go out into nature, that kind of stuff. So this is going to be a lot of like real self-talk, self-honesty, not criticism, but realism, right? Being honest, being very honest with self. Because that's how you can get, the brave and honesty gets you to this open channel, which is signs, codes, downloads, and sacred information. It'll help you integrate more fully within your own higher self and yourself, your smaller self, I think people call it sometimes, and your higher self, or your body, or your family, or your like world, right? Or the connection. It's not to really assimilate in the sense of just fall in line with how everything's going. It's more to understand your uniqueness, other people's uniquenesses, and see how you can work through the world as you without being distracted by other people's dramas, situations, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's an opportunity here to be completely free and open. That'll help you connect with not just your your like spiritual gifts, or like that kind of stuff, or like your empathy or intuition. Excuse me. It's going to help with you connecting with how your body works and moves, and not to be so harsh and judgmental or critical about it, because it is the way it is. But how can we move beyond that? What's the root causes that are causing this? Is it something emotional? Is it something just purely physical, right? Understanding that and being very clear and honest with yourself will help you identify it and start to move beyond it, move beyond the structure of like the difficulties, let's say. Yeah, it'll help you release. So you've got Saint Germain with a violet flame, which says, alchemy, release the old, make way for the new. And I feel like that comes back to this ocean, Jasper, right? These little fossilized looking things. It looks like fossils to me. It's probably not, but it just looks like fossils to me. So something that's really old, something that you've learnt from either childhood or something from the past. It could be even just recently, right? The recent past doesn't have to be really old. But whatever it is, if it's no longer serving you or working with you, and it's causing some kind of physical ailment, then it's time to recognize it, especially if you've been going on and on with a particular pain or something. And then if I ask that person, oh, how's your relationship with this person or that person? It's like, I don't want to talk about that, right? That's not for me, let's say, to dig into it, but that's definitely a very clear sign for you to look into whatever that is, whatever it is. There's always a path forward, and if it's not done in this life, then it'll be done in the next. It's kind of like keeps repeating until a lesson's learned, or like you've overcome something. And it doesn't mean it's going to be the exact same way over and over. It's not like a loop of hell or something, right? I was thinking of the Coven, American Horror Story, where she's doing the dissecting the frog, and she brings the frog back to life, and then it goes in that loop, right? She cries because she doesn't want to dissect the frog, and then the frog, and then she goes backwards and forwards, over and over again. It's not like that. It's not like you're going to get stuck in a loop. But this is definitely a good time. If you're here listening to this message, Power One, this is a good time to start healing. All right, these will come through reversed. I might actually read them reversed, so don't get upset if they do come out reversed. But I just feel like maybe that is how they're supposed to come through today. Normally I read them all upright, but I'm going to read them how they come through. Got the Seven of Wands, which is interesting because if I read that upright, it would be a very different message. Because this one, the Seven of Wands is very much about, like upright and reverse is very different, right? From the higher ground to trying to defend a position that maybe isn't worth defending. So that's how this is kind of coming through. Again, it's not about judging or criticizing yourself or saying that you did this wrong or right or whatever. It's really about just pure honesty. It's like, this happened, I did this, I said this, or they did this, they said this. I'm not going to defend or argue it. I'm just going to see it for what it is. And now how do I move beyond that? That's going to be something for you. How does it affect me in my body? You know, what is it shifting or changing within my body that I don't want to hold on to anymore? Because ultimately, how do you release it is going to be an honest, I guess, kind of like ritual of actually releasing. There are people out there that say that they can do this, that, or the other for you, but ultimately, this is you doing it for you. Even if you watch Tyler, sorry, excuse me. Even if you watch Tyler Henry, it's funny that it's like affecting my throat, right? Which is like the throat chakra speaking truth and authenticity. But if you've ever watched like Tyler Henry, a lot of the times it's not so much about connecting this person with that person. It is that, but it's also about them being honest and speaking truth, right? And sometimes they haven't talked about any of the stuff, and then they get to start to release it. It's not like a quick pill or anything, but there's so much more happening than, you know, a lot of people, or like some people, skeptics will watch it and be like, well, they could have looked at this, they could have searched for this, they could have found this online. And let's say they did all that. Who freaking cares? Is it helping this person, or is there underlying stuff that really is lifting up these people? I don't feel like Tyler has enough time to be able to, or like even his like staff or whatever is going on right in that show would have enough time to do all that. And it just kind of seems pointless anyway. There's a much easier kind of like if he just was worried about making money, he wouldn't have gone on TV for one thing. He probably would have like charged huge amounts of money and stayed at home and just did something like that. But eventually people are going to find out it's not really authentic, right? So anyway, coming back to reading, this is about being honest with yourself for sure. The Seven of Wands is standing on the high ground normally, and sometimes when it's reversed, it's like you're actually trying to fight a battle that doesn't need to be fought. Or you're trying to hate someone or like blame someone or self that doesn't need to be blamed. Step outside of yourself and have a look and see how things are looking, because you'll get a better perspective of what's going on. There is an opportunity to release and keep your whole body kind of like open. But it has to be honest. Justice, balance, that one was talking about balance. Interesting as well, because they're both on the opposite side, right? Striking gold in every opportunity or every experience is such a blessed way of seeing the world. It's not about criticism. It's even like you'll see horrible things online, right? Whether they're guys there's like religious or not. They'll say things like, oh, this is why this happened here. This is why the storm came through, because God lifted his protection off this part of the world. And it's just like, how does that help anyone? How is that actually love, right? Where's the love there? This is criticism and judgment. So try not to criticize or judge yourself. See everything as an opportunity to grow and learn. And if you do that, even if the lessons are very small, like you trip over something or like something like that, right? And maybe it was like stop and think and like, oh, I really was in my head at that time. I'm kind of glad that happened because it pulled me out of it. You know, something like that. You never know. It's just a way to reconnect with the now. Yeah, I love this. 10 of Wands next to the Violet Flame. Clearly, your body is being burdened by a whole lot of bullshit that you're carrying around, and it's time to open it up. Start with being honest with yourself. This isn't a soft hand-holdy reading, sorry, but it's one that's going to really, really help you shine and get out of your own way. 10 of Wands, burden, right? You can see here, this person looks like a dancer, and there's so many restrictions, either self-imposed or told to them, that they've decided to keep. that it's like your body just wants to like fly, really. It doesn't want to stay here and try to defend itself against what? There's not even people holding those sticks, right? They're just there because they're perceived that they're there. It's like when people want to defend themselves when no one's attacking them. Hermit, going within. It is reversed. Sometimes that's like isolation. You'll know if you're not pushing yourself hard enough, or like when I say pushing yourself hard enough, it's not like to get progress or to get results. It's just like, when it's like you've had enough time sitting and contemplating, and now it's time to like share your knowledge with yourself or with the world, right? So the Hermit, I would just take it as giving yourself time to come back to who you are, understand who you are, understand what gives you life, right? What fulfills you? What is fulfillment to you? Not what anyone else is, not what the news and TikTok and all this other bullshit kind of like distracts you with. What do you really feel right now? This is a complete time to be very honest and clear with yourself. And it's for good reason. It's so you can release some of the crap that no longer needs to be there, and help your body kind of like move. Even I feel like exercise would be a good way of just breaking free, right? Like now my throat's not even cloggy anymore. It's because I think because I mentioned the authenticity type thing in the throat, like speaking truth to self. How does that affect our body? In huge ways. Emotion gets stored in different parts. Trauma gets stored in different parts. It doesn't show in science, right? Or like materialist medicine, because it's not, you can't store that in a pill and give it to someone, because that's kind of like where a lot of our life has kind of evolved from. It's like pills will fix everything, inoculations, all that. If you need to get those, definitely get those. I'm not saying don't get them, but there's so much more than just a pill. It's not going to heal a trauma, right? Hence why eventually they opened up to psychiatrists and that kind of thing, speaking it out, because that's important as well. But you don't need to go outside of yourself to heal any of this if you don't have the funds or desire or like, want to go that step. You can start within yourself. It's going to help you connect with a lot of information that's coming through from like, you could say light codes and stuff like that, or help you really integrate it instead of just store it in the head and not move it through from there and then try to figure it out from the head. It needs to go through the whole body. It needs to go through the whole chakra system, you could say as well. Make way for the new. I think that's the end of this reading. Make way for the new. Making way for a more balanced you, a more harmonious you, your feminine, masculine energies, night and day, change, whatever's coming through. This is up to what you deal with or work on now. And so once you get there, then you can start from a much fresher perspective than going from, a more tiresome or imbalanced perspective. Okay, I think that is going to be it. Yeah, that's it. So hopefully this has really helped you, pile number one. I'll just let you know I was also listening to, what is it called? Meditative Mind. They have a lot of different things. This one is 741 Hertz, 963 Hertz, 417 Hertz, 528 Hertz. And it's about positive transformation, detoxing, pineal gland cleanse. It just popped up. I don't even really search for these things. I'm just like, I wonder what's here. And I might put in meditation, or I might put in nothing and it's just there. Or it might be like, after a video I've watched, it's just like, here's a little thing. And so I was like, okay, I'll just listen to that. Sometimes that's how it comes through. But anyway, hopefully this helped. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. If not, take care of yourself and I'll see you next time. Hello, welcome to your reading pile number 2. Just before I start, I'll just let you know, Meditative Mind music's playing through. It is 741 Hertz, 963 Hertz, 417 Hertz, and 528 Hertz. So it's a lot. It's a lot coming through. But it's about positive transformation, which I feel like is what we all want in this life. But start with your reading. You have chosen the Rhodonite. I actually like this because I took a piece of this because I had this little thing, which is Rhodonite. It's a very different looking, but I think because they kind of like, it's like when people have filters on their screen, right? And then you see them in real life. It's kind of like that. This is a real piece. This is kind of like a gussied up little pretty piece. But that one's raw. This one's kind of polished as well, so it's a little different. But this one says emotional healing and balance. So emotional space healing and then balance. You've got the earth element, the heart chakra. And it says here, let's have a look at what this one says. It says Rhodonite plays a crucial role in healing emotional wounds and promoting unconditional love, enhancing mutual understanding in relationships. In other words, it contributes to emotional well-being and deeper connection between individuals. So very interesting here. It's a nice one. This one could really come through with some trauma stuff, emotional things that are held onto, or maybe even stuff you've already overcome. Either way, it might be time to reflect on it, especially if it's if there's any impacts or however it's tapping into your body, right? Okay, so I'm gonna grab some tarot. Nope, gonna grab some oracle cards, and then we'll grab this tarot deck at the end. Now, I didn't even say this, but this is a message from your body. It's either going to be touching in on something that's impacting you now, or maybe from the past, or maybe just something you want to look into, or it could be just congratulating you on, your journey of what you're trying to improve in life. And maybe give you a wider aspect, because sometimes people that go out and just feel like they're losing weight, they start to exercise, they lose the weight, but it's also like a whole person shift, right? And some people will be like, oh, I used to like the old version of you. And it's like, well, that old version wasn't really me. It was a restricted me, right? And so I've moved on. And this isn't a new version of me. This is the true me that's always been there. That's just been under this like weight or under this emotional attachment to food or whatever, whatever it is. So don't be afraid of changing and what other people think, because they need to focus on their own lives as much as we need to focus on ours. Okay, interesting. I don't know how that relates to you, but if it does, just do you, basically. Okay, let's have a look. So you have reflection. This is examine thoughts and feelings. Yeah, reflection is such a good one. Reflection helps us not just understand, like not just to look back and like see the things, but also to help us really understand deeply how certain things have played out and how they've impacted us. Because we could see the things that played out as toxic, terrible, the worst thing that could have ever happened in the world, right? But it helped us and mold us to who we are. And so if we just look at it in a negative or just a positive way, we're kind of missing the universal kind of message of what that event really played out in our life. So this could be talking about some of the challenges or trauma or something like that, emotional abuse even, or even just something that you've had to deal with in the past, whether it was like something small that someone said, or like, years of ridicule or challenge, that kind of stuff. Whatever it is, this is now the calling to start to reflect on it, maybe even look into it if you feel comfortable doing that, and start to leave it in the past, not to carry it on into the present. You have the divine director. Trust the process. Create space for divine order to unfold. Creating space for divine order, especially when we're getting it from our body, is really to identify what is not balanced or doesn't feel balanced in our life. Maybe it's a lack of, not just exercise, right? This isn't all about just like the body wants you to exercise, but it could be just like a lack of mind, body, spirit connection with meditation. That's not necessarily running around the block, right? Or like going to the gym. That can be just like mindful meditation, connecting with the body, connecting with the self, connecting with how it's impacting and feeling to you, whether you need like an emotional release of energy in some way, through exercise, through crying, through, I don't know, star jumps, I don't know, whatever, or through like actually talking it through with someone. This is up to you. So just believe in yourself that you're able to overcome whatever is held within, no matter what it is. That's where the first step kind of is coming through with this. This is so funny because while I was shuffling between the readings, I obviously don't show it because there's nothing really to show, I'm just shuffling. But Katumi popped out and fell on the crystal, and I was just like, oh, interesting. I wonder if he's going to come out. And here he is. So I feel like just because it's come out and it relates to this like healing emotions and that kind of stuff, this might be a key to that. Or you might want to even look up Katumi as an interesting character. But Katumi is coming through with an initiatory experience. He says, your current situation is initiating your gifts. So it's sometimes a hard pill to swallow, especially if a situation like in the past was, well, I was bullied at school, right? How did that initiate anything? That just made me feel XYZ, sad, alone, scared, that kind of stuff. But there's always like, not always, but there's certain things that happen that we can overcome. And if we didn't go through it, it might have played out very differently in our future, right? It might have been like, this person was bullying me through school. I'm now out of school. I'm now dating. I meet someone, and this person not just reminds me of them like in a physical way, but just the way they talk to like the staff members or stuff like that, right? Or at the restaurant that I'm at. And it's like, this is triggering that, which tells me that this person is like lacks empathy or is rude or whatever, right? And so you can kind of squash a connection before it gets into something. And maybe if you didn't go through those past things, then you wouldn't have seen that in this person. You would have been like, oh, this is just how this person is, it's fine. So don't ever discredit the stuff that we go through, or even just see it as only negative. There is silver linings, and there is stuff that helps us become more stronger, right? We're more independent because of maybe having to be. And now it's a time to be like, I don't have to be so strongly harsh or critical on myself to be, independent or anything. Now I can open myself up or express myself to others, or maybe I just need to like chill the fuck out and go bowling or go like fishing or something. I don't know, whatever you want to do. Dancing, pottery making, whatever. Something artistic. Give yourself a break, I would say. This feels like, I don't feel like you're being super, super, super hard on yourself, but there is a lot of pressure that's kind of coming from within house, and it's kind of cramping up the body in a way. Oh, God. It's just so funny. It's funny with the divine directives, trust the process, and Sky Father coming through with trust the unknown. These kind of cards used to, like, when I was reading for myself, used to trigger me a bit, because it's like, it's almost like just believe, but it's not believing in something external that's going to save us, right? I don't believe that. We save ourselves. We come down here to learn and grow, and we essentially save ourselves through interactions, through relationships. This card was talking about through our connections and see how they can help us. Especially if you've got a partner or something like that, there might be a time to really talk about something that you want to get off your chest. That may be about them, maybe not even about them. It just might be about you wanting to open yourself up to let someone else in further into your world. And it's like, trust that. Trust whatever you do is right for you when you base it from love, from heart, from peace, from joy, not from fear or ego. If you're scared of doing something, don't do it because it's based off fear, right? Don't respond based off fear, because that's not how this reading is coming through anyway. Well, I don't think anything's going to help through coming through fear. You got the Peacekeeper, let go of the need to be right. This is a tough one, I think, for a lot of people, especially who've gone through challenges, right? And they want other people, let's say, a horrible teen friggin' ex-boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, right? To apologize. Probably not going to get that. And why do you need that anyway? If you have forgiven yourself or forgiven them or not forgiven them and you just want to move on from it, move on from it. You don't need someone else's validation to do that. It is nice when you get that. It helps ease the process and makes it smoother. But waiting and relying on it for like 10, 20 years is only harming yourself. So this is where this like need to be right. You might be right. You might be wrong. Doesn't matter. This is about leaving whatever was in the past and moving on. So Peacekeeper, kind of nice too. I have been, you know, a lot of the time we focus on like, in like maybe spiritual circles, it's kind of like what energy you're kind of sitting with. I've been sitting with peace for a long time, and that feels like the right energy to radiate outwards, is like ease and peace. Things do not need to be hard. You can, you know, as humans, we like to make things super friggin' challenging and go against the grain and kind of like force certain things to just be made or created or done. And, you know, sometimes they work out and they get us to where we need to be. But peace, harmony, especially in like the idea of wars is just abhorrent. I feel like these days, maybe like 1,000 years ago and whatever, or even 100 years ago, that's what was like normal and people just accepted it. But this day and age, war is just completely unnecessary. In my mind. So I just sit with peace and radiate that. And I'm saying that it's like, know what energy you're... I'm saying that to you because it's like, not just talking about myself, but sit in whatever energy you feel is right to you. Know what that is, whether it's peace, whether it's love, whether it's joy, whether it's play, whether it's like ease, whatever it is, whatever feels like in your highest good. Love, you know, all that. Sit in that. See what that feels like and radiate that around you. It's not to force anyone else to follow suit. It's to just, I guess, radiate that energy, and people will feel into it without even talking to. They'll just notice it and they'll decide for themselves whether they accept it, reject it, or leave it or take it, right? It's not so much about what they do, it's about what you resonate with, what I resonate with, what energy I want to portray in this world. Okay. So you've got the Three of Swords. This one's really crazy looking in my mind because it looks like someone has passed, right? It's like a death has occurred and it's something that's ended, and now it's time to take out the swords. The swords were holding down the pain, or maybe holding this person in contempt, even if they're dead, right? Even if someone's passed, they might have been horrible people, a horrible person. And so now it's like, do I keep that hatred or that anger or that force in there, or do I start to release it? And this one's talking about releasing, starting to heal the pain by means that don't have to be hard on yourself either. This isn't about criticism or judgment. I know I keep saying that, but it keeps coming through, so I'm going to keep saying it until they stop. You've got the Ten of Pentacles. This one is reversed, which is kind of interesting. I don't think it really hides away from the Ten of Pentacles energy. This guy here is coming through. Normally it's like a whole family kind of situation, right? There's like a pregnant woman and other stuff, and like a whole group of people, generations. This could even be releasing some kind of generational, what would be seen as a curse, right? I don't really see them as curses. I see them more as like opportunities to not continue a cycle, basically. And sometimes you don't have to think about it. You just don't do something because that's what you were taught. You do it because it feels either right to you, or if it feels wrong to you, you reject it and release it. So there's something there with that too, releasing the old. So you can get into like, it kind of like then flips where you can get into feeling confident and happy within self, right? Secure within self, secure within your own family or environment you've created. Not by what they decide to do that you like or don't like, but by remaining true and honest within self. So we've got the 10 of Swords here too. Yep, some of the things, the past pains hurt, right? There's scars left over from them, maybe even physical scars, emotional, mental scars, but it's an ending, and to accept an ending as done and complete is to create something new or to move into harmony and peace. So we've got the 10 of Swords. This is a good time to close a chapter, basically. All right, last card is the 7 of Swords. I do like it when the 7 of Swords is reversed, because upright it's kind of like stealthy, it's kind of like underhanded, right? It's kind of like, yeah, but I've accepted that and I've moved on from it, but have you really, right? This is about getting complete clarity, removing the veil or the BS, basically, of like, well, I said I wanted to release it, but did you believe it, and did you feel like that was true, and did you actually want to release it from a point of like, it's okay to let this go. It's not about letting anyone off the hook or even yourself. The body's kind of like, you can't bypass it and be like, well, I'm going to leave it out of my mind, therefore it's gone. But if you've stored it into your neck and you've got like a crook neck or something, then you know that there's something to release there. The amount of massages isn't going to release it, because it'll just keep building back up even after it's been kind of released. I think sometimes, though, I'll be honest, just on a side note, sometimes massages really do help with that kind of stuff, because you've seen people when they get chiropractic adjustments and it cracks or whatever, and then they start crying, and it's because that was an emotional release as well as a physical release, right? It's all connected. We've broken things up in science and medicine too separately to like this is only physical, when a lot of it is emotional and mental as well. It's all tied in. But anyway, that's how you can get into this like new feeling of you, is by going through, I guess, the process of knowing what you are dealing with within self, knowing how to release it and move through it, and taking the steps towards that. Even if you don't see a clear path, trusting the process, right? You literally got these two, which is the trust the process kind of cards. Just believe, which can be kind of hard. But if you don't know what it's about, this might be a time to start reflecting on it. If you've already gone through this whole process and it still feels like there's something there, then come back to yourself. See what energy you resonate with. When you think about the person, does that pull you out of peace? Does it pull you out of love? Does that put you into hate or anger? Because then there's something there. There's something there. Practice it. Practice thinking about things or reading even things that are a little bit annoying. Not to hurt yourself, right? But just to see if you can stay in your own resonance that's true and honest to you. And still be able to deal with all that, because there's no way, unless we like live in a cave or something, we're going to go out into the world and even online and experience a whole lot of crazy stuff, right? It's just going to be there, and especially in this more information age, we can get information really quickly. Do we want to stick with it or stay into it, or do we want to just leave it? That's kind of like where this message is coming from. It's not so much saying there's anything specific in your body. If there is, you'll know what that is. Check in with that. Always come back to this reflection, and then come back to this reading if you need to re-listen to it. But I'm going to leave that there anyway. I hope this has really helped you, pile number 2. It feels like it's a kind of like a deep one, right? Especially with the 3 of Swords reversed. It's like something that's heavy. They're not, your guides or your body isn't really saying it's not a big deal, because it may have been, or it may still be, but they're saying that it's not about like whether it's a big deal or not. They're not saying like, you should just get over it. It's more like, do you want to keep holding on to this energy? That's the real question. If you do, then you do. If you don't, then here's a path forward. Okay, thank you so much for letting me read for you, pile 2. Look after yourself, be kind to yourself and others, and I'll see you next time. Hello, welcome to your reading, pile 3. Before we start, I'll just let you know the music that's playing is called Detox, Negative Energy and Pineal Gland Cleanse, and Positive Transformation, but the hertz is 741, and then 963, and 417, and then 428. All right, so you've chosen the Mookite Jasper. This is nature, connection, adventure. To me, this feels like getting out. Basically, when I saw this one, I was like, this is getting out. You've got the root and the sacral chakra and the earth element. So let's have a look. It says, this unique stone radiates energies that deepen one's trust and love for Mother Earth and her diverse beauty. Beyond that, it encourages adventure and a zest for life, making it an ideal stone for those who seek experiences and personal growth. So very cool energy. This is kind of like motivational, and I believe, because whenever you're watching this, it's fine. But right now we're in the middle. We just passed the partial eclipse as well, and the sun is in Aries, right? It's kind of like that creator degree. It's like the start of the cycle, or the start of the I'm going by Western astrology here, but it's like the start, like the beginning. It's like the first step into the new, which could be, I guess, why people see it as the astrological new year as well, because Aries is the start. So, none of the other readings were really looking towards that, but I feel like for this one, maybe that's what this is about. It's making a transformation in your life. I was talking to my cousin recently as well, and he was talking about what he does, and that he's like, he doesn't hate it, but he doesn't like it, which means you don't like it. Really, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But he loves the idea of traveling, and I was like, there's digital nomads out there. I don't think you need to do exactly what they do, but there's a lot of different ways of living this life. And if you don't have any kind of like partner or kids or anything like that, and you want to go travel, why not do it now? Why not give that a go? Maybe you can do some work. Maybe you can just experience something different if that's what you want. If you don't like it, you can always come back and find another job, right? We shouldn't be staying in jobs out of fear of like, well, what if this happens or that happens? No, just live life. I'd rather live my life with like 2 weeks than live no life in 90 years. Honestly, the amount of time you live on this earth doesn't mean that you've lived a good life or like experienced a strong life, right? It's so much more than that. But anyway, that may be where this is coming from. I know the body, if we're talking to the body, and that can touch on, especially with this card of like physical exercise, putting feet on the grass. You know how they say touch grass and it's usually like an insult? Well, it's true, right? Grounding, getting connected with nature, with the earth, rediscovering the earth instead of being in your car and just driving from one place to the next, then getting out and not looking at the scenery, but then going into a restaurant going, oh, what a beautiful scenery, but you're not really looking at scenery. It's just like some kind of like it's almost like we're following an idea of life rather than living life, right? We don't need like a fancy bag or this, that, or the other. This is kind of like the body saying, get real, like get into the realness of life. Okay, I'm going to stop myself and pull some cards before the reading goes on for too long. Okay, as usual, oracle cards. We've got, oh gosh, we've got me dropping the cards. We've got the secret language of darkness. We have the, what is this one? The divine masters, and ancestral angels. Is it called? What is it called? Angels and ancestors. And then we've got the cosmic tarot, which is a cool one because it's got that 80s vibe. And I don't really remember the 80s. I was born in the 80s, but I don't remember it because I wasn't really that old. But I do like some of the vibes from it. The kind of like wackiness of it, and also the shadow stuff in the background, right? Politically, all sorts of interesting things happening. Okay, let's take a look at your cards. Pile 3, Mookite. I've got compassion. It says co-create space for passionate inclusion. Yeah, I kind of wish we would elect people or like put people in higher positions that had loving compassion in their heart. Not just like, you follow me and I'll I'll give you the good stuff, but if you don't follow me, then I'll cut everything away from you. Because it's kind of like you have to fear me, right? And it's like, that is bullshit. I would never go down that path, and you don't need to either. And the body kind of like coming through with compassion is like, appreciate what your body does for you. Maybe even wake up every morning and thank your body for being still alive, right? You know what I mean? Or like, thank your body for being here for you. Even if it's hurting in some places, it's like, you know, it's just like this appreciation, love for self. Because we're so harsh and critical, basically, because we're told like, oh, to be a man or a woman, we have to look like this or that, or wear these kind of clothes, or wear this makeup, or all this. And it's like, you can do all those things if they feel right to you, but if you're doing them to try to fit in or to be someone else, then who are you, right? That's what this reading's going to be about. It's like, who are you? Are you being you, or are you trying to be someone else? Screw it. I got my dad recently these Crocs because he wanted Crocs. And he was like, I don't care about the color. And I was like, I'm going to get a good one. But there was like a super good deal. And it's like these lavender looking ones. And I'm like, should I get those? And he's like, he doesn't care. Why do I care about what he is going to wear anyway if he doesn't care? I'm just going to get him those. So when I go back to New Zealand next week, I'm going to give them to him, see if he likes them. But anyway, they were the only ones that were at that price. So I was like, well, I'll get them. You've got Lady Portia as well. Overcoming limitations, karmic release, let go of the need to be right. Wow, this card didn't come through before. Lady Portia is like the counterpart to Saint Germain, and Saint Germain's like that strong masculine energy of like, let's release some of this crap, right? And she's similar, but she almost feels like a lawyer or a judge or something, where she's kind of like, you know, she's not gonna, even though lawyers can kind of talk shit, right? But when it comes to the fact of the matter, she's going to give you the tea. She's going to give you exactly what she thinks. And so this is how we need to be with us, be very clear and honest with ourselves. Let go of the need to be right isn't to back down or isn't to like force anything, but it's time to no longer worry about things that are no longer in your vicinity or happening. If they're happening in your head, then acknowledge that this is in my head right now. This is living rent-free from a trauma or a pain or something like that. It's time to move forward. Karmic release is just letting go. We decide what karma we bring in and decide how long we keep it on us. Just release it. You don't have to hold on to any of the stuff, any of it, anything, period. Rumi. Okay, so we've got Rumi coming through with mystical knowing. This is breaking boundaries, personal experience of God. Whenever I see personal experience of God, this feels like remembering that this isn't something outside of ourselves, this is within ourselves. This kind of like idea of God in energy or creation or as a creator. You know, we are aspects of source, essentially. And so this one's just coming through with a reminder of that. But breaking boundaries, like I said with, you know, my cousin, right? From going from an idea of like, well, this is how it is, this is what I have to keep doing, I don't love it, but I like to do these kind of things. Well, then the research, you know, there's people living wacky, weird lives out there because that's what feels right to them. And outside looking in, people might be like, oh, I could never do that. And it's like, that's okay because you're not them. So who cares? Like, your opinion's cute, but who cares? You know what I mean? Go live a life that feels right to you. Overcoming limitations and breaking boundaries. This is purely getting out of that limited mindset BS. Ooh, this one came through in pile 1. So if you're interested in, if you were looking at pile 1, there might be something there for you. That goes really deeper, especially if there's like, so, well, I won't get into it, but it does go deep into some areas, let's just say. But you don't have to as well if you're not interested in it. Boop. Next. You've got the Knight with be brave, be honest. Yeah, you've got to be clear, you've got to be honest with yourself. Let's not try to convince other people like, but please, you have to take my side on this situation. What side? You know, you don't have to be on a side. It's just like, what is working for me? What is not working for me within myself? what is triggering certain things that may have an emotional response or a physical response. I feel like we're going more in the emotional sense. So your body, excuse me. Okay, when my throat goes and we're talking about honesty, this is about being authentic and honest and speaking truth. Excuse me. This happened during pile 1 as well, so there might be some link there. And you've got the little non-binary angel. Earth Guardian, stay rooted and grounded. Like this was saying, getting out into nature, going on an adventure, you're grounded, your mental kind of space is going to be really helped and balanced by putting your bare feet on the ground and the grass. If you can, right? If you live in, I don't know, fucking Antarctica or something, then maybe don't freeze your feet off. But you're there. You chose to be there. I'm assuming you weren't born out of a penguin. So anyway, this is about being grounded, being connected, whether that's physically or spiritually, right? Doing a meditation that you grow roots down into, we've all seen it, grow roots down into the earth and, you know, have that energy kind of come in and go out and come in and go out. Like we're a little tree, kind of like absorbing some of the nature and releasing the, you know, oxygen through our leaves or something like that, releasing it. So there is that coming through. I say little non-binary angel because this one in the deck, in the booklet, says that they don't hold like agenda, and I just kind of like now calling them the little, or them, the little non-binary angel. Okay, let's see. Prince of Swords, going on a mission. Yeah, I feel like they want you to like travel or something, right? Your body's kind of like, let's get out there and explore. Doesn't mean you have to travel to another country, but you might want to look around the block, right? See the environment you live in. Maybe there's like a garden or something, like a community garden or something. Who knows, right? Like go out there and just explore. You don't have to talk to anyone if you don't want to, but why not engage in your community, whether that's online or in person? But I'd say with how it's coming through, it's like this is in person. Two of Cups, a contract, right? Maybe my cousin, I should tell him to watch this, but I don't think he's into any of these kind of things. But anyway, it's like a new contract, a contract that's created through something, doing something that you enjoy or love. Okay, music stops, so I'm just going to put on Prana Apana. In Prana Apana, this like mantra, it just keeps repeating Prana Apana, and it's like keeps going on, but it's kind of like breathe in, breathe out. But the Two of Cups also could be romance, right? Finding someone to do the things you love with. I feel like your body just wants you to live life and just enjoy and be kind to yourself. Yeah, the Hanged Man is upright, right? Or not upright, but reversed, which is kind of like looks upright. This is, you've kind of learnt the lessons, or you've already gone through the challenging parts. This is kind of a time in your life to start living it for you, living freely. And it can be done now, right? This isn't a sit around and think about it type thing. If you need time, obviously take it, but I don't think it's going to take a lot of motivation, or like a lot of time, not motivation, a lot of time. It doesn't need a lot of time to sit around waiting for something to just click in. This is more of like, I'm not going to live by means of what everyone else is. It kind of reminds me of this, I can't remember what it is, but it's like a saying in China that a lot of young people are doing, and they're just like, they're not participating in the work culture. They're not going to go underground or go into a factory and just work for peanuts, right? They're not buying into that culture or that idea of like to have a successful society, these people up here, this 1%, are getting everything. And you have to start down here to build up there, which is usually impossible anyway. You just get content with what you've got and stop. So they're just like, I'm just not going to participate. You can look online. There's a lot of people doing like, they'll be lying on a bridge or just lying in bed or just lying down. That's been going on for a while. But it's getting a little bit more traction. Wheel of Fortune, you deserve to live a good life. Yeah, if you want your excuse me, if you want your butt kicked a little bit in Power 1, go check that out. If you don't want that, don't. I'm just gonna pre-warn you. But yeah, this is a time to make deals, make contracts physically within yourself. You know, when I say make deals within yourself, I'm not gonna criticize myself. And instead of repeating that as a mantra, and be like, I love myself, right? I care for myself. I'm going to do what's right for my mind, body, and soul every day. And I will try to constantly align with that as best I can within the surroundings that I have in front of me. But I will always, you know, put myself and my heart first. So yeah, it's a really nice message coming through. Just wants you to get out there and just live a life, whether that's changing how you work, your work-life balance, not working, finding another way of making a living, right? Whatever it is. What do you feel called to do? Because you can do this. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. I feel like that is probably enough. Is this Aquarius? I feel like that's the Aquarius symbol, and Aquarians are the ones that don't follow suit, right? They're the ones that kind of bring in the new energy to break through some of the old BS. This is it. It's time to like break through. Time to like make the shifts and changes you want to see. Okay, well, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today, Pile 3. Look after yourself, be kind to yourself, and I'll see you next time.